Okay, so you want to own a barbershop. Simple setup. A few chairs, some clippers, maybe a flat screen on the wall playing sports, and a line of guys out the door every Saturday morning. You watch the barber pocket cash all day long, tip after tip, client after client, and you think to yourself, this has to be one of the easiest businesses on earth. Low overhead, high demand, recession-proof, everyone needs a haircut. You do the math in your head. 10 clients a day at $40 each is $400. 6 days a week is $2,400. 4 weeks a month is nearly $10,000. And that is just one chair. You put in 4 chairs and suddenly you are looking at $40,000 a month from a single location. The numbers seem almost too good. Here is the problem. You are doing the math for the wrong person. Those numbers belong to the barber sitting in the chair, not to you. And the moment you understand the difference between owning a barbershop and cutting hair inside one, the entire business model reveals itself in a way that almost nobody outside this industry ever fully sees. Let us start with what a barbershop actually is at its core, because it is not what most people assume. Walk into any independent barbershop in America and ask the owner how they make their money, and the answer will surprise you. The majority of barbershop owners do not make their income from haircuts at all. They make their income from something called booth rent. Here is how it works. The owner of the shop leases out individual chairs to barbers who are not employees. They are independent contractors who pay a weekly or monthly fee to use the space, the equipment, the utilities, and the shop's customer traffic. The barber keeps every dollar they earn from every haircut they cut. The shop owner collects the booth rent regardless of how many clients that barber sees in a week. A single chair in a busy urban market rents for anywhere between $150 and $400 per week. A shop with 6 chairs collecting $300 per chair per week generates $1,800 in weekly booth rent, which works out to roughly $7,200 per month, not from cutting a single head of hair, but purely from renting out the space. This is the actual business model of most independent barbershops in America, and almost nobody who has never owned one knows this before they get into it. Now here is where the naive version of this plan starts to fall apart, because booth rent sounds simple until you understand what it actually depends on. The booth rent model only works if the chairs are filled. And filling chairs with good barbers is one of the hardest ongoing problems in this entire industry. A great barber is not looking for just any shop. They are looking for a shop with walk-in traffic, a good location, a clean professional environment, working equipment, reliable Wi-Fi, and a reputation that brings clients through the door without them having to build their own following from scratch. If your shop cannot offer those things, the best barbers in your market will go to the shop down the street that can. And if your chairs are sitting empty, your booth rent revenue is zero, while your rent, your utilities, your insurance, and your equipment lease payments continue arriving every single month without any interest in whether you filled those chairs or not. Let us talk about what it actually costs to get in the door, because this is the part that genuinely shocks first-time buyers. A commercial lease for a barbershop space in a decent urban or suburban location runs anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 per month, depending on the city and the foot traffic of the specific block. Before you sign that lease, you will typically need to put down 2 to 3 months of rent as a security deposit, which means before you have bought a single pair of clippers, you have already committed $5,000 to $15,000 just to secure the space. Then comes the build-out. Barber chairs are not cheap. A quality hydraulic barber chair costs $800 to $2,000 each, and you need a minimum of 4 to 6 to run a real shop. Barber stations, the cabinet and mirror setup at each chair, run $500 to $1,500 per station. The backwash shampoo bowls, if your shop offers them, run another $500 to $1,200 each. Flooring, lighting, signage, waiting area furniture, a point-of-sale system, a booking software subscription, a washer and dryer for towels, a water heater capable of handling a commercial load, and the permits and licenses required to operate a personal care services business in most states. Add it all up, and a properly built-out barbershop with 6 chairs in a decent location requires somewhere between $40,000 and $150,000 to open the doors before a single client sits down. Here is the trap that catches almost every first-time barbershop owner, and it is so consistent across this industry that experienced operators talk about it almost as a rite of passage. Most people who open a barbershop are barbers first and business owners second. They have spent years behind the chair, building a loyal clientele, developing their craft, and watching their shop owner collect booth rent while they did all the work. At some point, they decide they are done making someone else rich, and they open their own place. The problem is that the moment they sign that lease and hang their own sign above the door, they face a choice that will determine everything about whether the business survives. Do they keep cutting hair themselves, or do they step back from the chair and run the business? If they keep cutting hair, they are generating revenue from their own clients, but they are spending all of their time and energy on the one thing they were already doing before they opened the shop. They are not recruiting new barbers to fill the empty chairs, not managing the customer experience of the whole shop, not building the systems that make the business run without them. If they step back from the chair and focus on running the business, they lose their personal client revenue immediately, before the booth rent from new barbers has had time to ramp up, which creates a cash flow gap in exactly the first months when cash reserves are most critical. This is the barber's dilemma, and it destroys more barbershops than rent ever does. Now let us talk about the location decision, because this is the one that people consistently underestimate in this business. A barbershop lives and dies on walk-in traffic. Unlike a restaurant that can survive on reservations or a gym that survives on memberships, a large portion of barbershop revenue comes from people who simply walked past, saw the sign, and came in. This means the specific block matters more than the neighborhood. A barbershop on the corner of a busy intersection with visible street frontage and easy parking will consistently outperform an identically equipped shop tucked into the middle of a strip mall 3 doors down from a mattress store, even if the two locations are 300 meters apart. The difference in rent between those two spots might be $500 to $1,000 per month. The difference in walk-in traffic might be the entire business. Getting the location wrong is not a recoverable mistake in the short term. It is the kind of error that takes years to fix and burns through cash reserves the whole time. Let us now get into the numbers that actually matter, because this is where the two very different versions of this business show themselves clearly. A fully operational 6-chair shop in a good location with all chairs, consistently rented at $250 per week, generates $6,000 per week in booth rent revenue, which is approximately $24,000 per month. Against that, your fixed monthly costs look something like this. Rent at $2,500, utilities at $600, insurance at $300, software and subscriptions at $200, cleaning and supplies at $300, and loan repayment on your build-out costs if you financed any of it at around $800 per month. Total fixed costs, somewhere around $4,700 per month. That leaves you with roughly $19,000 per month in gross profit before your own salary, before taxes, before any unexpected repairs, and before any marketing spend. That is a genuinely good outcome. That is what this business looks like when everything is working. Here is what it looks like when 2 or 3 normal things go wrong, and they always eventually do. One of your best barbers, the one with a following of 200 loyal clients who come specifically for him, leaves to open his own shop or takes a chair at a competitor who offered him a lower booth rate. His departure does not just cost you his booth rent. It costs you the walk-in business that his reputation was pulling through the door. Another chair sits empty for 6 weeks while you try to find a replacement barber with an existing clientele who wants your location. Meanwhile, your rent does not pause, your utilities do not pause, and your loan payment does not pause. The equipment in the empty station, a $2,000 chair and a $1,200 station, is generating 0 return while you service the debt on it. A slow quarter like this, just one bad quarter, can turn a comfortable, profitable shop into a break-even operation almost overnight, and the owner sitting outside watching it happen has almost no lever to pull in the short term except reduce booth rent to attract new barbers, which directly cuts the revenue that was already under pressure. There is a second layer to this business that the booth rent model alone cannot capture, and it is where the smartest shop owners quietly build the most durable revenue. Retail products. Barbershops are one of the highest converting retail environments in any consumer business because the customer is already sitting in the chair having a personal conversation with someone they trust about their own appearance. A barber who recommends a pomade or a beard oil to a client mid-haircut closes that sale at a rate that no shelf display or e-commerce ad can match. A shop carrying its own branded line of grooming products or stocking premium third-party brands at a 40 to 60% retail markup can add $2,000 to $5,000 of pure margin revenue per month on top of booth rent without adding a single chair or a single employee. The best shop owners understand that their floor is a retail environment, and their barbers are the most trusted salespeople in the building. And they build compensation structures that reward barbers for product sales rather than just for occupying the chair. There is also a category of revenue that sounds small but compounds into something significant over years. Barbershop branding, a shop with a strong enough local identity, consistent enough aesthetics, and a loyal enough community following can license its name and its model to a second location, charge a management fee to run it, and begin building something that no longer depends on any single barber or any single chair. The shops that reach this stage are not the ones that cut the most hair. They are the ones that built a brand strong enough that people chose them specifically and would follow them to a second location. So if you decide to open a barbershop, remember the one thing that actually determines whether you build a real business or just buy yourself a very stressful job. It was never about how well you can cut hair. It was always about how well you can fill chairs, keep barbers happy, and build a room that works whether you are standing in it or not. The clippers are how you get started. The empty chairs are what will keep you up at night. And the shop that survives is the one whose owner figured out that their real job was never to be the best barber in the building. It was to build the building that the best barbers wanted to be in.